Thank you for listening to Balance Flat Girl. My name is Les. I am your host, and I appreciate you tapping in. So, we have a little bit of I don't know if it's sad, but this week is the conclusion of our solo episode summer. So I've been doing solo episodes all summer long from late June now through August, the end of August, if you're listening when this episode is being released. I've been here solo talking about wellness and personal development and feeling good in our skin and becoming our best selves all summer long. So many people in this community have really loved the solo episodes, which I really appreciate. Y'all have really been showing up, showing out, especially on our YouTube community. Lately, our YouTube community has just grown so much, and we've had such great engagement over there. And so I'm a little bit sad that this solo episode summer series is coming to a close, but I've also got some really good things coming for you this fall. We are going to be bringing interviews back into the fold starting next week, which I'm really, really excited about. We actually have a fantastic guest next week. Y'all already know her. You love her. It's going to be a great conversation. But I have heard you loud and clear that you do love the solo episodes. So I'm definitely going to be doing more solo episodes in the regular cadence than I was before. Previously, I would do solo episodes every once in a while, and I'm going to be instead moving to a cadence of doing solo episodes and interviews about 50-50. So about half the time doing interviews, half the time doing solos. I know there are also some people who are like, we just love solos, and that's totally great. I will be so honest with y'all. I don't have enough to talk about by myself to sustain this show being solo every week forever. Like, selfishly, I need guests. I need people to talk to because I really love interviewing people. And also, there's just not enough going on in this brain to be able to bring you value every week solo. But like 2 to 3 times a month, I can do. So we're going to start introducing interviews back into the fold. We have some amazing guests coming this fall. So make sure you tap into those episodes as well as the solos. So I actually kicked off solo episode summer with an episode talking about the summer glow up. And I gave some personal examples that I was using for my own little 35 hotter experiment, where the months leading up to my 35th birthday, I was really wanting to focus on being the healthiest, happiest, hottest version of myself. And I was sharing the different things that I was doing to become that. If you listened to last week's episode, which was my birthday episode, we now know my 35th birthday has come and gone, but we're still going to keep this glow up train going because it's never a bad time to take care of yourself. And so what I want to talk about today is how we can take that momentum of our summer glow up into fall to continue prioritizing our well-being and being our best selves in the fall. And I actually think that fall is a really great time to focus on dialing in your wellness, whether you had good momentum during the summer or whether you're just now getting started. Fall is the perfect time to dial things in. And that's for a couple of reasons. One, for many of us, we spent most of our lives in school. Whether you're in school or not, there is something about that back to school energy that just makes you want to have a fresh start and that makes you want to lock in. And maybe also, too, for me, because like my birthday always coincided with back to school, I always think of this time of year as a bit of like a New Year's. I remember when I was in school, I used to always make like new school year's resolutions. And then I would get my little mini life coach on and I would make my friends do new school year resolutions as well. I've always been this annoying, in case you couldn't tell. And just setting new intentions for the fall. And I think a lot of the reason why it's really helpful to do that is because it almost mimics nature. So in the fall, that is when a lot of seeds are planted. If you think about crops and flowers that are going to be harvested next year in the spring and summer, those seeds are planted now. So what you do now as we end summer and go into fall is actually going to be what dictates how you feel next spring and summer. So if you're really able to dial in and lock in now on those habits, it's going to pay dividends later. I would also say fall is kind of that last burst of energy that we get before we start to kind of hunker down for the winter. So if there are any habits or things that you really want to get a good hold of before winter, now is the perfect time to start. So I really encourage you to channel that back to school energy, to channel that seed planting energy, to really upping your self-care routine this fall. And I also know for some people, summer can be when things kind of go off the rails a little bit because we're so busy, we're traveling, we're outside, we're doing all of these things. things. So if you need a little bit of a reset, then you can also kind of use these tactics to do that as well. So that's the space that I'm coming from of wanting to maintain the momentum that I got this summer on my wellness journey. But even if you're just getting started, you can absolutely jump right in as we go into fall. So I would say the first thing that's going to be helpful if you're looking to refresh your wellness routine this fall is to give yourself a solid foundation to work with. So during the summer, a lot of us tend to be really busy. We're traveling, we're outside, we're going to events. I don't know about you, but my space when I'm really busy and when I'm not spending a lot of time at home tends to be in disarray. Even if I clean, even if I tidy, I just find that my organization and my systems are off when I'm not home and regularly using them. So this is a really amazing time to go through your space, to do an audit of, do I have my fall wardrobe in place? Have I cleaned out my kitchen cabinets? Do I need to put my summer clothes away? Look at the different areas of your space and of your life that are sticking points for you feeling as good as you can feel. So for me, I realized that one of those major areas was my closet. And if you're not kind of familiar with my living situation over the past year, I moved to New York. And as soon as I moved here, I literally hit the ground running, and I never really spent the necessary time to settle into my space. I went from having like a spacious 1-bedroom apartment in LA to cramming 1 bedroom's worth of stuff into a small studio in New York, and I never really took the time to set up my space properly and to have systems. I just threw all my stuff in the 2 closets that I had, and I've been outside running the streets ever since, and it's really catching up to me. So as I go into fall, I've been focusing a lot on organization because I realized that my clutter has been impacting me mentally. It's been impacting my ability to get up in the morning and do my workouts. It's been impacting my ability to focus. And so when I'm surrounded by clutter, everything takes 10 times longer to do, and I'm making sloppy mistakes. And so I've been really focusing on updating my space. And for me, the number one sticking point of my space, just the area that was giving me the most anxiety or that was having the most negative impact on my day, was my closet, because I just threw all kinds of stuff in there, y'all. It was crazy. It was hazardous. Every time I would open the closet, stuff would like fall out onto me. Any random package, anything that I would get, I would just shove in there. And it was causing so much anxiety. And so a few weeks ago, I decided that that was going to be the place that I started. So I ended up taking a whole day cleaning, revamping, and reorganizing my closet. I got rid of clothes that I no longer wear. I went through, old journals and old documents and packages that I had shoved up there, and I found new homes for them. And I created more functional systems that actually reflected the way I want to look at my closet. So I set up my closet to work for the ways that I get dressed every day. And ever since then, getting up and getting dressed has been so much easier, because as soon as I open those doors, I don't then feel anxiety or feel like it's one more thing that I need to do. It's very easy for me to see, okay, I start with shirts, my shirts are right here. And then I move to pants, and my pants are right here. And then, I decide what purse I'm going to use, and then my purses are all up here, and they're all super organized. And at the end of the day, I put everything back. And it has just made my days so much smoother, and it has created so much more mental space for me to focus on other things. So having a really clear foundation of your space is important anytime we change over the seasons. And with the change in seasons, it's the perfect time to do this, because then maybe you can swap stuff out. Maybe then you can pull your coats back out of storage, and you can put some of those summer things that you aren't going to be wearing soon away, and you can create space for whatever it is you need. So really focusing on doing that on a seasonal basis is super important. I recommend starting with the closet just because for a lot of us, that is just where a lot of the work is. That is where a lot of things get shoved, but you can kind of adjust this based off of what you need in your own space. And then another area that I'm now focusing on really getting organized and streamlining is the beauty products, because I don't know what has happened over the past few years. Actually, I do know. I blame TikTok, and why the amount of beauty products that I have literally quadrupled why do I have so much stuff? Like I have one face and I do the same thing to it every day. And even going rouge at Sephora, which I have, like, why have I spent so much money to look the damn same? Humiliating. I need to figure out what to do with all of this stuff. So my next project, now that my clothes are organized, is organizing all my beauty products, going through those old things, getting rid of what you no longer need. Like if you still have an Urban Decay Naked palette from 2010, it is a biohazard. We have to let it go. And I say this as someone who maybe got rid of my Urban Decay Naked palette from 2010 a year ago. Again, humiliating. We've got to let these things go. So a few weeks ago, I had talked about beauty and style favorites going into fall. When you have that edit of what you know works for you and you pare it down and you streamline it, getting rid of everything else that you don't need is so key. Again, we want these routines to feel good. When you get ready every day, whether that's getting dressed, whether that's doing your skincare, whether that's putting on makeup or whatever it is, you want it to feel like a ritual. And it's really hard for it to feel like a fun, relaxing ritual if you're super overwhelmed by clutter and by stuff. So at the time that I'm recording this, I'm kind of right in the middle of my beauty product organizational project because I just have a lot of stuff. I also get sent a lot of stuff, and so I have to sift through it. But if you have not gone through your products in a while, I highly, highly recommend you do so because it'll be so much easier to actually use what you have if you know where you're at and if you have a good system that will help you kind of put it all together. And then the last area that I'm going to be focusing on organizing and decluttering directly related to wellness is the kitchen. So last week in my birthday episode, I talked about the importance of slowing down, measuring twice to cut once. And another area where I have been definitely struggling with this has been in my kitchen, where I will have multiple items or I will leave something off the grocery list thinking that I have it. But because I didn't check the cupboard, before I go to the store, I realized I have to go out and get something else. And then I spend more money, or my supplement cabinet is like overflowing with stuff. And so really streamlining and paring down, okay, what is it that I use every day? Are these ingredients, supplements, spices, and everything old? What do I need to have a well-stocked supplement cabinet or kitchen? And then just going through and creating really easy systems that make it easy for you to take, your supplements every day, make it easy for you to prep your meals every week is going to be super helpful for helping you stay on track with those healthy habits, especially as we head into fall. Because while summer tends to be really busy for fun and travel and leisure, fall tends to be busy in totally different ways as we're going back to school or back to work and, kids have their activities. There's going to be all of these different demands on your time. So really your goal should be streamlining these different areas of your space and of your life to make it really easy for you to maintain these habits as your schedule has different demands. I think it's great to go through some sort of decluttering and organizational practice every quarter or every change of the season. And this time of year is a little bit tricky because as soon as September starts, we kind of have that fall energy, but technically fall doesn't start till later in September. So if you want to wait till later in September, when the season actually changes or as we move into Q4, you can determine what works best for you. But it's definitely good to start thinking about it because often these things take longer than a day. I'm in the middle of my organizational process and it's been taking me weeks. I actually started back in late July and it's been taking me weeks to edit things. So just start thinking about what systems you need to be able to rise to the occasion for the demands that the rest of the year has for you. In today's episode, I'm talking all about ways to refresh your wellness routine as we head into fall, and the changing seasons can be a great time to switch things up in your beauty routine as well. With the changing of the seasons, I love to take time to audit my beauty products, get rid of any clutter, what isn't working, and start fresh with products I love that make me feel good in the skin I'm in. If you're looking to switch up your makeup routine this fall, you'll want to add Bobbi Brown's Weightless Skin Foundation to your makeup bag. Bobbi Brown's Weightless Skin Foundation gives my skin a flawless finish that still looks and feels like skin, not cakey makeup. I'm really picky about what makeup I put on my skin because I don't like anything that's too heavy or to wear anything that looks like I'm wearing foundation. I love things that feel weightless on my skin and that truly look like skin because I don't want to look like I'm wearing a filter or hiding behind a mask. Now, I wear this foundation for everything, to events, for podcast recordings, for my everyday face. I love how natural it looks while still providing great coverage. It really gives my best skin, not makeup, which is exactly what I want. In honor of the Weightless Skin Foundation launch, Bobbi Brown Cosmetics traveled the country to connect with their community and have honest conversations about beauty, confidence, and self love. The results were electric and uplifting. The content is all part of the Weightless Skin campaign and lives on their site and YouTube. Bobbi Brown Cosmetics invites others to share their own self reflection stories and answer the question, what do you see in your skin? Now, when I look at my skin, I see the features that are passed down to me from my family members, some that are still here and some that are not. And those pieces of them get to live through me. And I don't want to cover that up. I actually want to help those features shine. Now, as the days get shorter and we're beginning to spend a little less time outside and in the sun, you may want to switch up the shades of your makeup. And I love that Bobbi Brown offers the Weightless Skin Foundation in 53 shades so we can all find our perfect match all year round. It is a key part of my beauty routine and a must for achieving my favorite makeup looks. With 24-hour moisture and 24-hour wear, the smart skin balancing technology adapts to what your skin needs. Bobbi Brown's ultra lightweight formula truly feels like nothing on your skin, and it even stays put while on the move. Yes, in humid climates too. So it's perfect for those of us that are really active and always on the go. I feel so much better knowing that my makeup won't budge. See more of the campaign and discover your perfect shade of Weightless Skin Foundation at bobbybrown.com. Accessories are so important, and the perfect pair of sunglasses can really take your outfit to the next level. But I personally just don't like to spend a lot of money on sunglasses, but I still want good quality. So if you, like me, are looking for stylish, affordable sunglasses, you have to check out Gooder. Gooder has cute sunglasses starting at only $25 a pair, and they're designed with active people in mind. So they don't slip or bounce when you move, and they have so many styles that you will love no matter what you like. I tend to gravitate towards aviator frames, and I personally love the retro G style. They come in 4 cute colors. They can really elevate any outfit. I love how they're designed for active people, but they don't look like workout sunglasses, if you know what I mean. In addition to the retro G style, Gooder has so many cute frames and types of sunglasses that you will love. Really a frame that'll match any style that you're going for. They're perfect for any activity, whether you're running, cycling, golfing, going to the beach, hiking, or just hanging out on a rooftop with friends. They're great quality while still being affordable, and now is the perfect time to get them for your late summer vacations and activities. If you want to support the show and try a pair, Gooder is giving Balanced Black Girl listeners free shipping. You can go to gooder.com/balanceless and use the code balanceless for free shipping. Gooder offers a 30-day money-back guarantee and 100% satisfaction. Again, that's Gooder, GOODR.com/balanceless and use the code balanceless for free shipping. Being the nutrition nerd that I am, I've known how nutritious organ meats are for a long time, but I just don't enjoy eating them. But organ meats are like nature's multivitamin. They're packed with B vitamins for brain function and energy. They're rich in vitamin A to support your immune system and your skin health and reproductive function. And they contain bioavailable minerals like iron and zinc. But if you, like me, are not a fan of eating organ meat and you still want all the amazing benefits, you have to check out Paleo Valley. Paleo Valley has so many amazing supplements and products to support your health. I was introduced to the brand when I started taking the Paleo Valley Organ Complex. It's odorless, tasteless, and contains 3 nutrient dense organ meats from grass fed cows to provide a wide array of nutrients. I added Paleo Valley Organ Complex to my supplement routine after getting my blood work done last year to help me fill in some of the nutritional gaps that I was experiencing. And since I started taking Paleo Valley grass fed organ complex, I've noticed my energy and endurance levels have been so much better. Paleo Valley is dedicated to helping people get essential nutrients without added sugars, grains, and harmful ingredients. Paleo Valley prioritizes using grass fed, organic farming, regenerative agriculture, and nutrient density across all of their products. Now, in addition to the grass fed organ complex, I also love their turmeric complex for helping with inflammation and joint pain. Head to paleovalley.com/balanceless for 15% off your first purchase. Again, that's paleovalley.com/balanceless, or you can use the code balanceless at checkout for 15% off your first purchase. So, the next thing I want to talk about is your actual healthy habits. And I've been experimenting with so many different healthy habits, over the past few months as part of my 35 Hotter, whether that's getting in a certain number of steps each day. I've been stepping up different areas of my skincare. I went back to therapy, which has been a doozy, or increased my strength training. Sometimes when we are looking at creating new habits, it can be really hard to try to overhaul everything at once. So as we head into this new season, I recommend you picking up anywhere from 1 to maybe 3, if you're feeling super ambitious, new habits that you want to rehearse and implement in this season. So in the fall season, pick anywhere from 1 to 3 habits that you really want to dial in. I recommend not going more than 3, or not trying to do more than 3, because that is just going to be really overwhelming, especially if you're going back to school, especially if you're going back to work, or you have kids that are going back to school and they're starting their activities and all of these things. It's going to be really overwhelming to overhaul your life. So I would look at what are the between 1 to 3 key habits that will make the biggest difference in how you feel. So whether that is starting a fitness practice, whether that is going back to prepping your meals each week so that you eat out less, whether that is starting a journaling practice, whether that is going back to therapy, whatever that is, think about what is that one habit that you can implement that is going to positively impact everything else. And focus on that one thing that you really want to put your all into over the next couple of months. So for me, I know I talk about my space a lot, and I talk about decluttering and cleaning a lot, because living in such a small space now, I just realized that that is something that I have really struggled with, and it just has had such a big impact on how I feel overall. So my habit that I have been focusing on has been very intentionally cleaning my apartment daily, not just waiting for a Sunday reset. Although I do still love a Sunday reset, and I do a Sunday reset to do, a more of a deep clean. I have been being intentional about spending 15 to 20 minutes to actually clean my apartment every day, so that my space just feels more clear and zen, because then I'm able to be more productive in other areas. So what is it that you can do that's going to help you be more productive or be more effective in other areas? Because I think sometimes we try to implement these habits that actually don't have much of an impact on how we feel. The real key to making change is implementing those habits that have almost a domino effect over the rest of your life. So it's like you dial in that one habit that then makes 5 other small habits so much easier and possible, because you've kind of conquered this one main habit. So you should figure out what that looks like for you. I do think a few different things that you could try that could impact this would be some sort of organizational system. It could also be a fitness practice, because man, trying to implement a fitness practice if you're sedentary in the dead of winter is so hard, when it's dark and when it's cold. So getting in that habit now and making it a habit now, while we still have a little bit of warmth, while we still have a little bit of sunlight, while we still have a little little bit of energy is going to be so much easier than trying to do it later. So if you're trying to create an exercise practice now, let that be your focus. And you can say, okay, 3 days a week, I'm going to intentionally move my body. And if you're maybe not ready to go hardcore with, going to the gym or doing strength training, maybe you set aside 20 to 30 minutes, 3 days a week to do something from home. So maybe you find a YouTube channel that has movement that you really, really like, and you commit to just doing a workout from that YouTube channel 3 days a week. Or maybe you use a workout app. Like I really love the Alo Moves app for on-demand classes that you can do anywhere. You can do them from home. You can do them at the gym. And you pick just 3 workout videos or 3 workouts from the app that you want to do each week to get you in the habit of moving. And then once you get in that habit and you create that kind of base level of confidence from having that consistent exercise habit, then you're able to build upon that. So after a few months of that, maybe then you're ready to go to the gym and start a strength training protocol. Or maybe then you actually have the energy to do the other things that you want to do during the day. So that's an example of another habit that is going to make other habits easier in your life. So you can decide what that looks like for you and you can implement accordingly. The other thing that I would say when it comes to overhauling, particularly our physical well-being this time of year, is to find ways to add more intentional joy to your life. I will be honest, I know this is an unpopular opinion. I'm a summer girl. I'm a summer lover. I understand the downsides of summer where it can be hot, it can be uncomfortable. People feel a sense of FOMO if they, don't have travel plans or if they don't have a big group of friends to do all these things with. I get it. I have felt it. However, you are never going to convince me that a lack of sunlight is better for me than having more sunlight. So for the sheer length of the days alone, I will always be a summer lover. And even if I am experiencing the highest of FOMO, I would rather experience FOMO with a little vitamin D and a little daylight than in the dead of winter. So I will always be a summer lover. But I know some of the girlies love fall, they love winter. I get it. However, while we still have a little bit of sunlight on our side, now is the time to start thinking about intentional joy practices that you want to add to your life, because these days, they're getting shorter. It's already kind of feeling like fall a little bit, where you can feel the little crispness in the air. I can feel the days getting a little bit shorter. When I wake up in the morning, it's like a little bit darker than it was a few weeks ago. So start looking for some ways to add joy to your life now, so that when the sun is gone, when she's taken her break for a few months and her hiatus, you will have some sources of joy in the meantime. So maybe that is like dialing in your hobbies and picking up a few really great puzzles that you want to be able to do during the fall and winter. Or maybe that's like getting your to be read list together and putting together, a list of books that are just pure happiness that you want to read during the fall and winter. Start making space for intentional joy in your schedule now, so that when we all kind of get to the point where maybe we're feeling a bit of winter blues, we have a joy toolkit that we can pull joyous tools from to help us feel better, right? This is also a great time of year to maybe go to the doctor, to get your annual checkup, to get your blood work done, figure out where your nutrient deficiencies are. If you are a little short on vitamin D now, it's not going to get better as the year goes on. So start focusing on supplementing those areas where you have deficiencies now, so that in later fall and winter, when things get a little worse, a little more dire, you already know where you're at. So start thinking about different ways that you can add bits of joy to your schedule now. Now is also a really great time to start reaching out to your friends and to start making plans for the rest of the year, because we all know as we become adults, as we get older, That spontaneity that we sometimes feel with our friends can be a little bit harder. We all know, okay, now it's August and the next time we're probably going to see people is going to be November because it's so hard to get everyone's schedules to line up. Start reaching out to people now and start getting those dates on the calendar so that you have things to look forward to. So figure out what your Halloween plans are. Figure out when Friendsgiving is going to be and start creating intentional space for your community and for your people now so that you can feel happy and included and in community with others. Because if we don't do that, especially once we really get into adulthood and everybody gets busy, then it's so easy for months and seasons to fly by. We realize we haven't seen people, we haven't talked to people. It happens so quickly. So be super intentional and on top of getting those things on the calendar now so that they're so much more likely to actually happen. Again, we're planting seeds, not only planting seeds for our wellness habits, but we're also planting seeds for what is going to help bring us joy during those darker days when we're really going to need it. So start reaching out to your friends, start getting on people's calendars, literally put it on Google Calendar if you need to, because I love a calendar invite. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. Send a calendar invite to the girlies. Make those plans now. Be super intentional about it so that you can feel that joy in being in community later. Another thing, during the fall, that is when it's a good time to have some fun with your nutrition. So I think it's really great to eat seasonally whenever we can. As we head into fall, we're getting a lot of really great produce that becomes in season. So if you're looking for ways to either mix up what you're eating, get some new inspiration for the meal prep that you're doing or whatever, one thing that I really love to do is I aim to include one new seasonal item in my menu each week. So maybe that's a different vegetable than you're used to cooking with. Or maybe that is, a different type of squash than you usually use, or a fun recipe with a different type of apple that you can incorporate into the week. Just trying one new ingredient that is of the season every week. Not only is eating seasonally really good for you, but it can really help you get out of ruts. It can introduce you to new foods. It can introduce you to new recipes if you want to learn how to prepare things in different ways. Just as a really, really good way to help your body be more in tune with the season. Especially because eating healthier as we go through fall and winter can be a little bit more tricky because we don't necessarily have like the abundance of different fruits and things that we have during the summer. We're cold. We kind of want that comfort. So start looking for ways that you can kind of introduce healthy things to your diet now, and keeping it seasonal just makes it fun. It gives you something to look forward to this fall. The next thing I would say is it's a really good time to start picking out the fall and winter activities that you want to participate in, and to start planning for those things, budgeting for those things, and signing up for those things now. So from a fitness standpoint, fall and winter is actually a really great time to dial in your strength training if that is something that you are looking to do, because it's typically an indoor activity. During the fall and winter, we all tend to want to kind of eat a little bit more. We want to rest a little bit more. And those things are actually really great for strength training recovery. So this is a great time of year to start making some really good strength gains. If you are looking to put on some muscle and to be stronger, it's great to do that this time of year because you're already going to be doing other things like eating more and resting more that is going to help fuel and feed your muscles. So if you are wanting to get serious about strength training, maybe you do already have an exercise habit, but you're wanting to add being stronger onto that, it could be a good idea to look into some strength training classes in your area, or to buy a guide for strength training and to follow that program, or to start working with a trainer who can put you on a specific protocol or program to help you get stronger. You can also start looking into seasonal activities. So if you like doing things like hiking, or if you like doing things like skiing or whatever it is, start looking into those activities now. One, for budgetary purposes, because a lot of that stuff can be really expensive, but two, to also give yourself something to look forward to. So really leaning into what is happening seasonally can help you stay more active and just feel more engaged as we move into fall. I have been so much more inspired to cook at home lately. It's really giving you have food at home, and I'm so much more likely to want to cook at home when I'm excited about creating delicious meals. And one of my favorite ways to make a meal or snack taste amazing is to include Philadelphia cream cheese. Philadelphia makes my favorite cream cheese. It is creamy, it tastes amazing, and it's versatile enough to add to a variety of recipes and dishes. Now, as much as I love a bagel and cream cheese, I'm a connoisseur of it. I love having Philadelphia cream cheese with so much more than just bagels because it makes everything you put it on taste so good and gives a delicious creamy texture to so many dishes. Original Philadelphia cream cheese is my go-to. One of my favorite ways to eat it is with baby bell peppers and everything but the bagel seasoning as a snack. And it's also amazing in pasta dishes to make them even creamier. I love putting it on sandwiches and in sauces. The possibilities with Philadelphia cream cheese are truly endless. And with football season coming up, I know I'm going to be making fun recipes to share, like buffalo chicken dip with Philadelphia cream cheese as well. Philadelphia makes everything creamier. Visit creamcheese.com for recipe inspiration. They have so many amazing recipes on their website for you to check out and to purchase Philadelphia cream cheese so that you can start adding it to your recipes at home. Name some perfect pairings that can help you reach your health or fitness goals, like hydration and nutrition, or leg day and protein, or the right gear and the right coach. But what about the perfect pairing when it comes to growing your business? Well, that's you and Shopify. Shopify is a global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business, from the launch your online shop stage to the first real life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit a million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're promoting protein powders or selling superb supplements, Shopify helps you sell everywhere, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person point of sale system. Wherever and whatever you're selling in your business, Shopify has you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, up to 36% better compared to other leading commerce platforms. And you can sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Starting a business isn't always intuitive, and I'm learning so much as I get ready to launch a new business of my own. But Shopify has given me everything I need to create a solid foundation to grow. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. It's the global force behind brands like Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, as well as millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's extensive help resources are there to support your success every step of the way, because businesses that grow, grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/balanceblackgirl, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/balanceblackgirl now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/balanceblackgirl. Then the next area, as we have dialed in our spaces, as we have dialed in our healthy habits, we're doing the seasonal activities. We have time with our friends on the calendar. We are doing our seasonal workouts. The thing that we want to do in the fall is we want to get really strategic about our time, because often the fall is when there's a lot of demands on our time in different ways. So if you are a student, you are probably heading back to school, and trying to maintain your wellness around a school schedule can be tricky. Maybe you are going back to work and you no longer have a summer Friday like you had during the summer, or as flexible of a work schedule. If you have kids and they're going back to school, that is going to create kind of a different dynamic for your schedule. So during the fall, that is when time management really comes into play. And when we start looking at time as an asset that we are able to allocate and work with, as opposed to something that we never have enough of, that is when we feel a lot better about time. So this time of year is a perfect time to really dial in your time management. Look at how you're spending your time. Look at where your time is going. Start mapping out, okay, what is my new commute like? What is my new school schedule like? What is the kids after school schedule like? And start mapping out those things now to get really clear on how much time that you have that's already been kind of promised to other things, and how much time do you have that is yours, and what can you do to really optimize the time that is yours. So how can you fill that with activities that bring you joy? How can you ensure you're getting enough downtime? How can you be as effective and efficient at the things that are competing for your time so that you can create more time for yourself? So this is really the time of year where the rubber meets the road when it comes to our time management. When we learn how to really work with time and expand it, that is when we're able to feel like we have enough time for the things that we really want. So as we look at what is constraining our time, it's important to map out what all of our commitments are and to figure out, okay, what are the top priorities that are maybe on my plate for the next, say, 3 months. Map all of that out and get crystal clear on what your top priorities are, and then figure out, okay, what is something that's not a priority in this season? What is something that I can delegate? What is something that I can ask for help for? Really get clear on mapping out exactly how much time you have and budget it to different places the same way you would do with your money. So if you say, I make a certain amount of money each month, and these are the different expenses that I have, and these are all the different places that my money can go, and this is how much money I have left over, and this is what I want to do with it, you can do the exact same thing with your time. So if it takes you, a certain amount of time to commute to work, you spend a certain amount of time at work, you spend a certain amount of time commuting home, like tell your time where you want it to go and start mapping out those prototypes now, especially as the days are getting shorter, so that you can be more creative and more strategic with your time. Another thing that's really good to start doing this time of year as we head into winter is to really start looking at the holiday season and what that is going to entail for you. So if you are planning on traveling for the holidays, start looking at flights now, start pricing flights now, start mapping out, okay, who all do I need to get gifts for? How much is all of this going to cost? Start doing this now. It's actually ideal to start doing it like the year before. I personally like doing that stuff at the top of the year, like in January, so that I can start saving and putting money away a little bit each month all year, which is not particularly helpful for this conversation that we're having at the end of August. But for next year, you want to start thinking about that in January. If you have not started thinking about it yet, definitely start now, because you still have a few months to kind of make some things work. But what you don't want is to get to mid-November and be like, oh, now what am I going to do? So start figuring out how you're going to allocate your resources, be it your time, be it your money, to all of the commitments that you have at the end of this year, because that is going to help relieve so much stress. If we're talking about wellness in this season that does tend to be a little bit stressful, the best thing we can do is mitigate as much of that stress as possible now. And the best way to mitigate stress of things that we know are coming, because there's also plenty of things in life that, we deal with in the moment that we don't necessarily have advance notice for. For a lot of these things, we do have advance notice for. We do know they're coming. We do know we need to plan out holiday travel and gifts or whatever that looks like. So start thinking about it now and start creating a plan now to mitigate your stress for later. And then the last thing that I will say when it comes to refreshing our wellness routines for fall is really allowing ourselves to be as present as possible. And this is something that I am also still working on quite a bit, because I'm not always the best at being present. I spend a lot of time really future tripping and planning out so far in advance that I forget what is directly in front of me. Or especially, like I said, I'm a summer lover. I no longer am a fall hater. I used to be a fall hater, because being from the Pacific Northwest, it was either summer or seasonal depression, and there was nothing in between. Now that I'm on the East Coast, there's a little bit more of a transitional period, and it's not as depressing. But I would find myself at the end of every summer grieving and just being basically depressed until the next summer. And I'm really learning how to appreciate whatever season of life I'm in that moment, whether that is the literal season of spring, summer, winter, fall, or the personal season of wherever we find ourselves in life right now. Learning how to lean into whatever season it is and whatever lesson that particular season has to teach us is super, super important. So for fall, on a broad scale, fall is really here to help us transition into the rest period that is winter. It's when, even though capitalism and the way our society is set up, we don't necessarily get to slow down, that is when nature starts to slow down. That is when nature enters its period of rest. And so even though you may not necessarily be able to work less or always do less, what are ways that you can find ways to do less within yourself? What are ways that you can start moving more towards rest within your own mind and your own body, even if you're working with the same amount of time? So really looking at what is this actual season for and how can I lean into that? And then when you look at your own season of your life, whether that is a season of transition or whether that is a season of new motherhood or a season of, entering a new relationship or a season of not being in a relationship or a season of career change, whatever that is, allowing yourself to fully be in that season 10 toes down and experience everything that that season has to teach you is so important, because I've found that as we learn how to be less resistant to what is happening, that is when we're able to transition through it more gracefully. I have a loved one in my life who is not the most patient person. And I find that when they are at their most impatient, and I've noticed this ever since I was very young, when they are at their most impatient, that is when things try them the most. That is when things like goofy things happen that test their patience the most. And I remember at a young age being like, if you would calm down and not be so flustered, these things wouldn't get to you as bad, or you wouldn't be dropping stuff or spilling stuff or slowed down in this way if you would slow down to begin with. I remember observing that at a very young age. And now I'm receiving that same lesson back, where the less we resist things, the easier that transition is. So even if we are in a season that is hard, even if we are in a season that is just like rough or a storm, the less we resist it, the more we'll be able to glide through it. So if we are being called to focus on patience and our patience is being really tested, the way that we pass that test is to implement better patience, not to be even more impatient, right? If we are being challenged intellectually, the way that we move through that challenge is to open our mind to what else is possible, not to like dig our toes in on what we know and feeling like we can't access new information. Like learning to lean into whatever the current season is, letting it be and taking as much as we can from it is really, really key to making it to the next season relatively unscathed, which is so freaking hard, especially if you are in seasons of life that feel really long, which is relatable. I feel it. I've been in some seasons for some years and I get it. But I'm learning that the less that I resist it, the better I feel. So whatever this current season of life brings you, I would say let it bring you whatever that is. Stop fighting it. Stop resisting it. Look for the lesson and look for ways that you can take that lesson and move forward, as opposed to wishing it was over, waiting for the next thing, or resisting it, because often resistance just creates more of what we don't want. All right, my friend. So that is what I have for you for today for our ways to refresh your wellness routine this fall. And that marks the end of solo episode summer. Thank you so much for tuning in every week to spend the summer with me. I really, really enjoyed getting to do these solo episodes with you. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you feel like you got to know me a little bit better, even when I was on here yapping, because sometimes I feel like I just be talking. I don't know. If it's helpful, I sure hope so. Beginning next week, I am going to start bringing interviews back into the fold, but stick around because they're going to be really, really great. We have some amazing episodes coming for you this fall, a mix of solos and interviews, and I hope to see you there. If I don't see you pulling up for the interviews, I'm gonna come find you and I'm gonna be like, friend, come get these interviews, okay? If you are not subscribed to the show, please make sure that you're subscribed on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. It helps us so much. That is how the show gets pushed out to other people. Would also really appreciate if you left a 5-star rating and review if you enjoyed this show. There are also so many other ways to keep in touch with me. If you do or just really love the solo vibes and you just want to see more of what I'm up to, make sure that you're following me on social media. I'm at Balance Less on Instagram and on TikTok. I post over there every day with what I'm up to, more yapping that's kind of short form versions of the podcast. So if you're really missing the solos, make sure that you're connected with me on social media because then it's just all me all the time. I also have a Substack now, which is linked in the show notes where I send out posts related to weekly wellness. So every week I send out recipes that I'm making. I tell y'all what workouts I'm doing, what books I'm reading, products that I'm loving, my own little musings of life lessons that I'm learning each week. So again, if you really, really love the solo episode vibes, make sure that you find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Substack because there's more of that over there. But there are also so many amazing people that I can't not interview, some of the amazing people in this world, okay? So we're going to be bringing those back into the fold next week. Thank you again for tuning in. I hope that you end summer on a beautiful note, and I hope that the rest of the year is amazing for you. I'll see you next week.